Hi guys, finally Joe Biden decided to leave his basement and gave a speech about school reopening, allowing some journalists to ask him questions. Let's watch it together. Everything started about blaming Trump for not solving the COVID crisis.
Failure to take this virus seriously early on in January and February, and it spread around the globe.
Are you talking about Nancy Pelosi asking people to celebrate Chinese New Year in San Francisco? Or maybe you're talking about closing border with China, which was defined as racist by Democrats back then.
Failure to take steps we needed back in March and April to get this pandemic under control, to institute widespread testing and tracing.
Well, actually, US is the leader in testing for a very long time. What are you talking about?
And failure to model even basic responsibility like socially distancing and wearing a mask.
First of all, US is a federal country and it's the responsibility of the governor to decide whether people should wear a mask or not to wear a mask. I lived in Switzerland and no one's wearing masks there except for the public transport. Also, I've been to Slovenia just a week ago, no one's wearing masks there at all, and both these countries are doing extremely well in terms of COVID. I have nothing against masks. If you're sick, you should wear a mask, but I don't think it's the key to solve the COVID crisis. Now Uncle Joe gonna tell us the real reason why they can't open the schools in the US.
They announced that they're not going to help pay for cloth masks, other PPE, or for school settings, cleaning those basic health needs that are sanitized, everything from the lavatories to the classrooms.
Well, I've bought my mask for $1 in Brazil. Are you telling me that in the richest country in the world, people cannot afford to buy a mask? And this is the problem? Also, you're trying to tell that schools were not clean before COVID or what?
Mr. President, where are you? Where are you?
He's such a bad actor.
Get off Twitter and start talking to the congressional leaders in both parties. Invite them to the Oval Office. The Oval Office.
What kind of gesture is that?
And stop your boast about never being seen that what you can do anything. You always talk about your ability to negotiate.
Can I get a translator, please? Any of you guys can decrypt his message?
Now I'm happy to take questions you may have. I guess staff's going to call on whoever.
Questions for the first time in a while. That's gonna be rough.
Last week, your running mate, Senator Harris, said that the officer who shot Jacob Blake, based on what she has seen, should be charged. Do you agree with her?
Jacob Blake's story is a complete hoax, and even BLM doesn't really hide this fact from us. We know that the guy started the fight with police, headlocked the officer, and then he took his knife out. But since he's black, it's just another case of a systemic racism. Currently, all the polling data shows that BLM movement in the US is historically low. So you have to be very careful around this topic.
I think we should let the judicial system work its way. I do think there's a minimum need to be charged, the officers, and as well as Breonna Taylor.
Democrats can't really disavow BLM at this point, so they are trying to sit on both chairs at the same time.
There's a new book that says that when President Trump made an unannounced visit to Walter Reed Hospital in 2019, Vice President Pence was told to be on standby to take over in case President Trump had to receive anesthesia. As Vice President, were you ever told to be on standby?
I love this new conspiracy theory.
I just don't know. I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate. I'll let the experts do that.
Now you know why do you need experts? To speculate on facts. Amazing, Joe.
And the only time that I have been on notice is when the president's out of the country and I'm in the country. Not that I should wait for something to immediately be aware of anything, but that's something that might be called for. It wasn't called for.
Thank you.
You could have just said, yes, when Obama was abroad, I was on notice. But Biden can't really speak without a script.
On this visit to Kenosha tomorrow, local Democratic officials, including the governor, had previously discouraged President Trump from visiting. And just yesterday, the president of the local NAACP said he didn't want to see either of the candidates, including yourself, visit, that this is such a sensitive situation.
Well, we've spoken to all the leaders up there, and although I have an outstanding call with the governor, we dealt with the staff, because and there's been overwhelming requests that I do come.
Basically 20 unrelated words, and he just wanted to say, I will come. Then Biden decided to say more incoherent things and repeat himself twice.
We got to heal. We got to put things together. We have to heal what's going on. talk about what need be done. We start to talk about what has to be done. I'm not going to tell Kenosha what they have to do, but we have to do together.
Now the question is why Biden is not campaigning.
Why aren't you out there more? How far are you willing to push the envelope of what's safe in order to get your message out and to be among the voters?
Well, I think my message is getting out based on what all the polling data shows.
Well, Real Clear Politics shows your ratings being very tight with Biden in top battleground states. Maybe you have to worry a little bit?
What I've done is I've met with, via what I did this morning with the medical experts.
If you don't know what is via, I guess he meant this amazing Sony Vaio laptop he was using.
And so we've worked out a protocol where how I get in the plane, what kind of plane I get on, how it's sanitized.
Hey Joe, do you want a pink plane or a blue one today? Do you want Consuelo to use a lemon pledge or you prefer a different flavor?
Everybody's wearing masks, and the vast majority of people that I'm meeting with that come into my home and staff and the like, they're all tested as well. So I'm just trying to set the example.
Well, Joe, not everyone can afford to test everyone around himself, but we know you're special, so that's a very good example, right? Now the question is about debates.
Is there anything, you said you'll participate, is there anything that could dissuade you from participating, and how have you begun to prepare?
Well, I've begun to prepare by going over what the president has said, multiple lies he's told. What I'd love to have is a crawler at the bottom of the screen, a fact checker, when we speak. If we really wanted to do something, I think that would make a great, great debate.
Nice joke, but you don't really want to be fact-checked on your son being in the board of Burisma company in Ukraine, don't you? Now they ask him another question about Jacob Blake.
I didn't watch much of it, but I watched the reports from all of you, not all, from the press. And, when he was asked about what should be done with regard to a young man shot in the back 7 times in front of his children, I didn't hear much of anything come from him.
He doesn't even know what is this story about. Now it's time for Biden to do COVID numbers.
100,000 people have died who were above the age of 65. 100,000 out of the 200 and some that have died. Or not 200 and some yet, it's 189 or whatever it is. I don't understand why it's a political problem. What is the politics about not being willing to go in and help provide the protective capacity for people to be able to go back to work?
You know how to solve coronavirus crisis? Just buy everyone a mask. That's a very simple and effective solution. Don't you believe me?
I am going to insist, and I insist now without any authority, that every responsible person in this country, when they're out in public or not with a cohort that they have lived with because they know they haven't spread it to your husband, wife, etc., that they wear a mask.
I know 2 countries where even joggers have to wear a mask while they're running in the forest. These are Spain and Argentina. And as you know, these countries are doing very, very bad right now in terms of COVID crisis. So maybe it's not all about masks. And finally, what about California? Aren't they wearing masks everywhere? What about their numbers?
You raised $364.5 million, your campaign in the DNC last month. How are you going to spend it?
You want to go to dinner? No.
Asking a young journalist for a dinner date is kind of harassment. Don't you notice, Joe?
And by the way, I think the average contribution was like $40. We have over 1,600,000 people.
Okay, numbers again. $40 multiplied by 1.6 million is 64 millions out of 300 millions. You're so good in math.
Thank you all so very much for taking the time. Thank you. I know you always ask a hostile question, but go ahead.
It was too short and journalists were not happy, so they asked another nasty question to him. It was super boring, but...
But here's the thing, I'll end with this. I apologize for keeping you. No, well...
We don't see you then.
Yeah.
If you're almost 80, just 5 questions could make you feel that it was an eternity. But younger folks in the audience don't really feel in the same way.
Why do we think, God willing, when we get a vaccine that is good, works, Why do we think the public's going to line up to be able to being willing to take the injection? We've lost so much confidence in the American people.
Well, I guess because these vaccines were developed by private companies, not by the government.
Thank you all very much.
He's gone, but I hope he will return with another portion of crap very soon. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next episode. Bye!